Yes, folks, how are we? As you can see, we are out on the pitches today. And the reason for it is I wanted to take us through a very, very simple change of direction drill, which you can do with your squads or individuals to help them get better at the change of direction. But it's also a very, very good drill for kind of return to play and rehab settings as well. Kind of that crucial stage of returning you back onto the pitch after injury and getting you back ready for training and matches. So I'll break it down for you and we'll go through it in a second. So here's how it looks then. All I'm going to be doing, even as a team or as an individual, I'm going to be working from this blue gate through a certain set pattern, through the orange cones to the opposite blue gate, and stop, relax, turn around and then go again. So if I'm working with two teams, one team there, and we're going to come into the middle and just change direction through that pattern and come out to the other side. Okay, simple as that. But obviously if I'm working as an individual, like I say, in one of those rehab settings, return to play, getting players back used to changing direction on the pitch, all it'd be, I'd be working from here to the opposite side. Now, the best thing to do is give them a nice, easy way to start. So if it's the first time I'm doing it, I'm introducing change of direction, I'm really trying to coach, say I'm working with younger players, what I would try and do is give them a basic turn, so a 45-degree turn to start with. So something like this. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to the front middle orange cone with a 45-degree turn to the right-hand middle cone and just jog it through to the other side. Really, really simple. So starting from the blue gate, when I get out to that first one, I slow my feet, change direction, and I just jog through. So really simple, one 45-degree turn, and the rest of it was just a nice simple jog. As I then start to progress it, what I would do is I'd start to increase the severity and angle of those change of directions. So rather than a 45-degree turn, it might go to a 90-degree turn. But what you want to try and do if you're working with youth athletes, certainly if you're starting to really try to coach the basics of change of direction, start simple, start with lower angles, 45-degree angle turns, build it up into those 90-degree turns, and then you can start to add, change in direction quite sharply, coming back on yourself, 180-degree turns, things like that, okay? But I will show you in a second some nice, easy ones that you can do and include, and which will help your athletes with some coaching tips and some cues. So I'm starting from back here because I want to show you how I would change direction from front on and how I would also coach it and give you the cues you can use with athletes. Now, obviously it's really important that I don't just set this drill up and kind of give them a pattern to follow and just let them crack on willy-nilly. I need to give them the coaching cues, the advice, so that players can change direction safely, but efficiently and quickly as well. So I'll show you what that looks like. Now, how this one's going to look, I'm going to start from my blue gate. I'm going to go to the very middle cone of the grid. I'm going to do a 90-degree turn to the right-hand side. I'm going to do a quick left-hand 90-degree turn as well and just jog it back round to the blue near where you are now. But the cues I'm going to use, certainly when I use this, it's slow, low and go when I change direction. So obviously when I'm accelerating from the blue gate, I'm going at a little bit of speed. So in order to turn quite sharply, I need to slow my body down. So slow with little steps, low through the turn. So I'm going to load my outside leg. So in this case, it's my left leg. Obviously you're looking from the other direction, but this is my left leg here. I'm loading that, I'm getting low in the turn and I go and explode away. Hopefully you can see those steps as I do it. So I accelerate, get slow, get low, get slow, get low, and I just drive away and back through. Okay? So as you can imagine, if I'm doing this with the team, really, really simply, I want the team starting from the top blue gate to kind of come down this side, turn right, turn left, and go through. Now, if there's a team starting on this blue gate, they come down this side, turn right, turn left, and go through. So there should be no collisions in the middle. I've run this drill so many times with young players, older players, just teaching them the basics of changing direction, and I've never had any collisions today if you're sensible with the direction you give them. So give it a go, it's a great drill, and I'll show you some more severe ones in a second. Right, so hopefully we're remembering that slow, low, go phrase. And if we keep repeating it to our athletes as we're working with them throughout the drill, maybe do a little recap session at the end, just see if they remember it, kind of say, how can we change direction efficiently? Hopefully they will recite that back to you, which is a great sign, it means they're learning. But now what we've just done there is we've just done two quick 90-degree turns. So if you see, I'm not getting much speed between this turn and this turn. Yeah, so how can I increase that speed? How can I increase that difficulty? How can I make it a little bit harder once we've kind of understood the basics? Well, obviously I'm going to try and increase distance, and I'm going to try and increase the angle at which we change direction. So all this one really, really simple. I'm going to come to this left-hand cone closest to me. So the left-hand cone out here. I'm going to change direction across the front of the grid. I'm then going to hit a 90-degree turn here and back in. But as you can see now, we've doubled the distance after that first change of direction. And then what I really want to try and encourage them to do is once they've done that slow and go phase, really encourage the go. You know, say how quick can you get back over there, okay? Don't just try and let your athletes jog through it, because you want to encourage that intensity in the change of direction, and you also want to encourage that rapid acceleration phase once they've got nice and low and they really kind of push away, they get that go phase, okay? So like I say, left hand cone across and then back through, and it will work for both sides. I'll show you in a second. So when I'm here, I'm going to get my acceleration going. I'm going to get nice and slow, low, and then go into this harsh 135-degree turn. Are you ready? So I'm in, I'm slowing and I'm lowing, I'm slowing and I'm lowing, and I'm going away. Okay? So again, if I'm coming from this side, it works still. So you can have two groups of players working at the same side. Now you can look from the back, it's exactly the same thing. I'm out, slow, low, and really accelerate. Okay? And it's a really good one to try and practice that acceleration phase as well, with those harsh decelerations in before. So that's a really good way of increasing the distance, increasing the intensity of it. Now can we add in multiple different directions, you know, backtracks and things like that? Of course we can, and I'll show you those now. We're going to go right out to the very middle cone, stop quickly and backtrack back to this top middle cone, okay? So really simply, and the same rules still apply. I'm still going to get slow, I'm still going to get low, and I'm going to get going, but I'm just going to get going backwards this time. So it's a really good way of encouraging deceleration now, which is an important part of change of direction, obviously, because I have to slow my feet. But now I'm also really having to stop still to push back and work backwards. So it should look something like this. I'm just coming through the middle, right to that middle cone. So I'm accelerating, I'm getting slow, I'm lowing, and I'm going. Yeah. Now we can start to add in different things where we go after that as well. So I'm going to go out to that middle cone again, and I'm going to change direction to go round the outside like I did before. So I'm in here, I'm accelerating, I'm getting slow, I'm lowing, I'm getting going, and I'm going again, and I'm going really fast to join the back of the queue. So now we're adding different directions in. And what we can do, remember, if we're working with groups of athletes, just be careful with the kind of pattern you give them so they can both work at the same time. If you're working one-to-one, it's great, you can get really, really creative. And I want to show you one really good one for like a end of phase, return to play sort of thing. When you're getting a player back onto the pitch, really close to training, really close to matches, but I want to be really confident they're fully ready to go back in and handle those demands, those change of direction demands of normal matches and normal training. So how do I do that? Well, I want to really try and increase the intensity and angle of those change of directions, but also I want to increase kind of how frequent those change of direction happen as well. So you want to start grouping those change of directions together so it becomes much harder for them, and it's a much harder task than some of the earlier drills I showed you. Now how it's going to look, I'm going to go across to the furthest right hand cone, basically across this top line, to the middle here, across and to the outside of that furthest right hand cone. So we're basically getting 3 135-degree turns in really short succession. Okay, so quite hard, quite a high demand on the body. It should look something like this. And through. Okay, so hopefully you got to see that slow low go in action. As you can hear from my voice, that was quite hard. That was quite a high intensity drill. Now, can we add it, add 180-degree turns? Things like that, which aren't that frequent, but when they do happen, they're really high demand. Yes, of course we can, and I'll show you how that looks. Again, I'll do it from the top blue. So this time, I'm going to really try and increase that demand. I'm going to go to the furthest cone away from me down the middle, so the one closest to you in the middle. I'm going to 180-degree turn back to this top line, a 90-degree turn, and then I can start to add the 135s in as well. So you can really start to play around with it, mix it up, and make it as high intensity as you would like. So something like this. And through the middle. Not easy. Hopefully you can hear from my voice, I am a bit knackered after doing that. So you don't need many reps. You can really start to kind of challenge your athletes with this. And you can really start to, if you film it like I am here, you can start to slow it down and hopefully really get to look into that slow low go phase. Certainly on that 180 degree, am I coming low? Am I loading that outside leg ready to push me away? And obviously on the 135s as well. So I think we'll do a few more of these. I'll give you some more drills you can use with your athletes, but I'll need a rest first. Thanks for watching. See you soon.